Hey, I'm Stephanie, and it's time for a Partners in Cream Project Pan update. If you've been following me for a while, you might have noticed that I was filming while I was on the road, and then I suddenly disappeared for several weeks. Since I'm sitting down to do a Project Pan update today, I thought I might as well just do an all-around general update as well for anybody who's interested. If, however, you're just here for the makeup, never fear. As always, I put timestamps in the show notes so you can simply skip to whatever's most interesting for you. Every time I go on tour, I try my darndest to keep posting regularly. And every single time I go on tour, it's inevitable. My posts eventually just kind of peter out. And that's because travel is tiring, work is tiring. So as a responsible adult, I have to do things like prioritize things like my health and my work and my family. So basically, I've been good, just very busy. But now I'm back. Coming home after I've been gone for several months is always a little bit surreal. It's like I see my home with fresh eyes. Or maybe it's more like going to visit a good friend or relative's house, because obviously I'm very familiar with my home, but it's just a little bit foreign to me when I come back after so long. It's like I'm a little bit detached from everything, which meant that it was the perfect time for me to declutter. I kind of briefly touched on this idea in my Adagio Beauty video, which I'll link below in case you'd like to see it. But basically, I'm in the midst of a very slow and gentle streamlining of my life. It all started last year, actually, during my no-buy, when I didn't purchase any makeup, skincare, hair care, clothing, or accessories for an entire year in order to turn inward, because I'm currently on a journey to find my very own signature style. And so I just thought it would be easier if I tried to focus more on the things I already had, because this whole style journey is a creative process for me, and I find that creativity often benefits from constraint. So by limiting myself to the things that I already had in my closet and on my vanity, I felt like I could maybe learn more about my preferences and find out more about the true favorites and gems in my makeup kit and my wardrobe. And the deeper I dove into my makeup and my wardrobe, the more I realized that I just was getting more and more excited about focusing on the most favorite things that I had. And so I decided to start what I was calling a putter declutter. I personally find it very difficult to let things go. So I wanted to make sure that my decisions to give things away were always based in reason and logic. And it's actually been working really well for me. In fact, it was working so well that the declutter kind of expanded from just my makeup and my wardrobe to my entire home. But the process has been extraordinarily slow. And then, after a long year of a very slow declutter, I suddenly just left home for a couple of months. And that slightly foreign feeling I had when I returned, that feeling of detachment, almost gave me permission to simply start giving away those things that I was now detached from. Or more than that, it made me kind of look forward to giving those things away, which is a relatively new phenomenon for me. And so even though my initial plan was to dive right on into making videos as soon as I got back, I decided I needed to shift gears really quickly, because if I waited to start decluttering, I was going to lose that sense of detachment and the momentum that it would give me. So instead of making videos, I dove headfirst into spending every free minute doing a hardcore purge of my home. But I've noticed that I'm really slowing down now, and part of that's simply because I donated a lot of stuff. And so a lot of the things that remain are simply things that I need and want. But part of it's also just decision fatigue and the fact that I've now been home for a couple of weeks. So that feeling of detachment I initially had is dissipating. So today, I finally felt like I could let myself ease back into the virtual world. And I opened my DMs, and oh my gosh, so many of you had written to me. And thank you for even thinking to check in with me. That's so kind. But to those of you who were worried because you hadn't seen me in a while, I am so sorry. I did not mean to ghost you. It's just that sometimes when I get really busy, it's like time is passing so quickly that I don't even realize that I haven't logged in for like a month. So I'm really looking forward to not only making videos again, but also watching videos again. So that's where I've been. But just because I didn't have time to talk about makeup doesn't mean I forgot to wear it. So even though I didn't have time to post a February Partners in Cream update, I did document my progress. So in today's video, I will be sharing 2 months of project panning goodness. Let's dive right in with one of my most favoritist things. It is the one and only full-sized Tom Ford lip color I have ever owned, and I am such a sucker for this. It's gorgeous. I really enjoy wearing it. I enjoy the color. I enjoy the finish, but a big part of it for me is also just the packaging. I don't know. It just looks so architectural. I'm not sure that's exactly the word I'm looking for, but I like it. It makes me happy because not only does this lipstick look great on the lips, it's just the packaging looks majestic on every vanity, every counter, in my makeup bag. Every time I look at this, use it, wear it, I just feel rich, which is a beautiful lie. The truth in it is that this is beautiful. The lie is that I am not rich, and this lipstick made me less rich because I spent a lot of money on it. I am, in fact, wearing it on my lips today. I have it in the shade Dévoré, and thanks to Anne-Sophie from the YouTube channel Metropolitan Creole, linked below, I now know that I'm pronouncing the shade somewhat correctly. It's very good to have bilingual beauty buddies. So, I used this a total of 24 times in January and 29 times in February for a grand total of 53 uses so far this year. Ever since I got this, which was before my no-buy year, I had been saving it for only the most special of occasions just because it's so pricey. But now, I feel like because I'm using it almost every day, I'm giving myself permission to make every day just a little bit special. However, I had a different experience with the next item, which is the Purlisse Radiant Glow Illuminating BB Cream. This was decluttered to me, and I've heard good things about Purlisse, so I wanted to try it. And when I rolled this in, I did mention that I wasn't going to force myself to wear it if I wasn't enjoying it. My thinking is that makeup is just such a personal, subjective thing. And if I'm not really just enjoying using something, if it's not like a standout product for me, then I kind of want to give it away to someone who might actually adore using it. And there's 2 benefits to that. Number 1, it gives me more capacity to really focus on the items that I truly enjoy using the most. And at the same time, it gives someone else the chance to potentially discover a new favorite. So what happened with this one? Well, it's not really a great color match for me. I did end up using it 21 times because I was traveling and I had it with me, so I was using it. But it's a little bit too light and a little bit too cool for me. That's not a disaster with a product like this because it is kind of easy to sheer it out and make it work. But I have products that are kind of similar to this, and they're a better color match, so I would rather give this to a friend. As for the formula, it's fine. It didn't really impress me, but it didn't bother me at all either. The finish, however, is really radiant. And so I found that the best way to apply it on my oily skin was to use a dry sponge. And I've actually really been liking this one from Real Techniques. I used this dry, and I'm going to link this below because it's actually been kind of a game changer ever since my skin has become oily. I think it's called their Miracle Airblend sponge. And it's supposed to have like superior blending and mattifying abilities. I don't know. All I know is that this does kind of tamp down the radiance of my dewier foundations, and so I've been enjoying using it, especially with this. So after deciding I was going to give this one away, I thought I would roll in something else in its stead mid-month, and so I decided I would roll in this Purlisse product. They look kind of similar. They were decluttered to me at the same time from the same person, but this is the Purlisse Youth Glow Vitamin C CC Cream. So I got rid of the BB cream in favor of the CC cream. And this one was a better color match for me. It's a little bit darker, a little bit warmer. But I felt like the formula looked the same. It had kind of a similar finish, a similar coverage. And so I don't know, like I wasn't over the moon for it. I have some formulas that I just feel work a little bit better for my skin. So after wearing this 10 times, I decided I would also give this one away. So once I got home and had access to all my stuff, I rolled this one in instead. It's the Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue, and I thought I was going to have a really easy time with this. This is something I had been using for a couple of years. In fact, this is a replacement tube that I had bought before my no buy year started, and so I was just like, oh, great, like I get to return to an old favorite. This will be fun. It doesn't work for me anymore. My skin has been changing over the past couple of years. It's been getting like oilier and oilier. And this now just doesn't want to stay on my face. I tried to make it work as best I could with every trick I know. I tried 8 times, and every single time it looked horrible. It's like the oils on my face just ate it up, broke it apart, destroyed it. So this is also going to go to a new home. So I rolled in one last foundation product. And it's my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. And luckily, this one is working really well. I used it 8 times, and I'm really looking forward to continuing using it in the next month, simply because not only is it a nice foundation, but the shade 3.8 is perfect for me when I'm at my palest. But as soon as I start going outside more often, this is going to be too light for me very quickly. So I need to make sure I use it as often as I can while I am still in winter hermit mode. All the other products were so much simpler, I promise. They all worked really well, so I didn't have the urge to roll anything out. So let's move on and talk about the Dior Lip Maximizer Hyaluronic Lip Plumper. Have you ever actually looked at the word hyaluronic before? Doesn't it look like it would be more fun to pronounce it hyaluronic? I don't know. Can you imagine if you're just like, oh, it's time for me to apply my Dior hyaluronic lip plumper? I don't know. I guess it doesn't fit their branding, but it definitely fits my branding. Anyway, I used this 27 times in January and 29 times in February for a grand total of 56 uses so far this year. And I have really liked it. It makes my lips look plump and glassy and like a little bit less pigmented than they are in real life. It's almost like it gives me kind of a faded look. So if I'm in the mood to like, I don't know, look like a wallflower, like a really pretty wallflower, this is what I would wear. And I've been enjoying it. It does have kind of like a sweet, minty smell and taste, kind of. I don't know. It's a little bit like the Buxom lip plumpers, if you've ever smelled those or felt those. It's got that kind of cooling effect, but this one isn't as extreme as those. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't tingle, but it does kind of plump up the lips a little bit. The one thing that I don't like about that is that, like, if I happen to get a little bit on like my tongue, it makes my tongue feel kind of like tingly and weird, and I'm not really into that, but I just try not to lick it. Then we have the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in the shade Amethyst, which I used 12 times in January and 23 times in February for a grand total of 35 uses this year so far. This is really pretty. It's a cream eyeshadow and it looks beautiful as such, but I've been using it more often as a liner. And the reason for that is because the color isn't quite dark enough on me to be quite as impactful as like my typical brown or black eyeliners. Or let me take that back. The color is actually dark enough. It could actually work as an eyeliner, but because it has an element of shine to it, it kind of makes the depth of color of this a little bit less impactful. So I feel like I can add definition to my eyes with this without adding a whole lot of heaviness or depth or drama. And I like that. Last but not least, we have the Hourglass Illume Sheer Color Trio, and I have it in the colorway Sunset. I used this 13 times in January and 21 times in February for a grand total of 34 total uses this year so far. This formula is great. It mattifies ever so gently, and it's almost like applying a skin filter. It's kind of amazing, actually. And the thing I like about it is the outside of my face can get a little bit dry and textured. And even though this is mattifying, it never looks dry and it never emphasizes texture. It always smooths. And the highlight is so soft. So I've really been enjoying using this, and it was really nice to have it with me when I was traveling because it is so small and compact and just easy to pop in my bag. The one thing I have to be careful of is that these formulas are actually pretty pigmented, so it's very easy to overdo the bronzer and the blush. So I just have to like keep that in mind every time I use it. But as long as I remember how pigmented they are, I'm always happy with the end result. So that is what I have been smearing on my face. As for upcoming videos, I do have one that I recorded on the road, and that will be going up soon. But I'm still kind of getting used to being back home and the rhythm of home. So my schedule might initially stutter and sputter a bit, but I am revving everything back up, so the machine should be back up and running soon. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoy slow beauty and style content, then I hope that you will like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. But even if you don't, I hope you have a wonderful week and that we can all remember that even stumbling can be a form of moving forward. So let's stumble in style.